Good afternoon. I got something in my eye. Uh, I'm making this late today. I had to go to my parents, and it was a beautiful drive. And I made a couple videos. Sorry, cough's still there. I'll try not to do it very much, but I've been good all day, so it's about time for me to have a little fit. Uh, it was a real pretty drive. The trees are starting to change. I got a couple videos. I'll look at them and see if they're worth putting up there. So I was thinking while I was driving of what I was going to do today or talk about, and I thought I would tell you my story. And I'm going to try to abbreviate it as much as I can because it's rather long. It's not just grandparents raising grandkids. There's a reason. There's a reason why, and there's a reason why for every grandparent that's raising their grandkid. Mine is mental illness. My daughter she's my second daughter, my second child. Um, and she was always an ornery baby. And I thought maybe it was because, everybody has a different personality, but I also worked. Uh, I got divorced when she was like 2. Ooh, ooh. She had seizures when she was a baby, also. They put her on phenobarbital. We had a rough time. Um, so, yeah. So that went on, while she was little. And then when she got to be probably around 8 is when it got really, started getting weird and hard. And then at 10, there was some really bizarre things that she did. She shaved her whole body. I guess she thought her arms were hairy or whatever, except for her head when she was 10. I don't know. It's just, and she was really hard to handle, and she was hard to handle in class. She was very manipulative. Now, knowing now what I know, I really think she had borderline personality disorder way back then. And those things were very misdiagnosed way back then. But be that as it may, we had a really hard time. We went through counselors. We went through all the same things I'm going through with Isaiah. It ended up when she was a teenager being the juvenile stuff because, her problems got harder and worse. We're doing the same trail with Isaiah, but he's not here right now, so I can tell you he's not as bad. Not right now at 14. He's different because he's a boy. So some of the stuff he does is really gnarly and I think just as bad, but different because he's a boy. But, as far as I know, there's been no drugs. I don't think he vapes, which so many kids his age do. Isn't that crazy? Where do they get the money? How is it allowed? And no drinking. And so that's, bonus. My dad said he was doing much worse things at that age. Dad, are you watching this? Oh, look at my little maple tree. This is my maple tree. That's my glory in the trailer park. I guess this is the trailer park over here. It's a one trailer park, but a no trailer park now. Okay, so anyways, my daughter grew up. I tried my best getting her the help that she had. One of the last things I did was send her to a place in Waco that was a in-house school, and she did very well there. She had relatives on her father's side who didn't agree with what I did and thought I was just being hard, and there wasn't really that much of a problem. And it didn't help. Not only did I not really have help at all, I had the opposite of help. And so she ended up out on her own at a pretty young age, but managed not to have kids until, my gosh, I think she was maybe 20. What a blessing, right? So I got a little break. I think she was out of the house by 16. And, somehow we got to let that slide. And I kind of kept track on her. And she was in our same town for quite a long time before she took off to Austin. We lived in Smithfield, Texas, which is a little town. And then she took off to Austin. So then she had Ronald. And she was already kind of in trouble. Oh, she went to jail when she was pregnant with Ronald. And so I had Ronald a lot on the weekends and stuff. And it was just real complicated. She'd be in trouble. She'd be in jail. I'd try to get him. He would be with his father sometimes and his other grandma. And so they were colored and we're white. And they didn't like us. Not at all. I tried to stay out of trouble with it and just do the best I could to help. I would take him anytime I got the chance. I worked a full-time job, and I was still raising my youngest child, Haley. She was only, I want to say 6 when he was born. So anyways, we went back and forth with that. Something really bad happened with her boyfriend, who is Isaiah's father, and Ronald. Allegedly. Not for sure. Pretty sure. He never got prosecuted. Nothing ever came of it. I don't know how it slips by the state, because supposedly Ronald was taken to the hospital. Anyways, I got Ronald. But I didn't get him legally because the state wasn't involved. There was no charges pressed. Nothing happened. So I took him. And I told her, if you're with that man, excuse me. Really, I think I'm done. I'm not giving you back Ronald. And she was pregnant with Isaiah. Excuse my mix up there. This continued on, y'all, for years. I held on to Ronald. She had Isaiah. Isaiah's father was very abusive. Mostly to her. I don't know about to Isaiah. Not that I know of. She finally left him. She had more kids. Different people. All the fathers, at least 3 of them are in prison right now. There's 4 fathers. There was one, Isaiah has one full brother. He passed away under some strange circumstances. She got the kids back after that. Not Ronald. Ronald stayed with me. And I think that is when I got guardianship of Ronald. Permanent guardianship. It was a battle. It was a battle. She didn't want me to have him. She held the guardianship over my head. Like, I wanted to raise more kids. Like I was doing it just to be spiteful. So, that's how I ended up permanently with Ronald. And then there was a couple more cases. And she left the kids at home alone. And Isaiah's little sister had a seizure. And Isaiah called 911. And they took the kids out of the home permanently. And 2 of the children ended up with the little girl's aunt. And they're in a lovely home. They have a wonderful life. Do I feel bad not having them more in my life? Of course I do. But I think they're in the best place possible. And I have the 2 older boys. And when I got Isaiah, I knew he'd been with his mama all that time, but I'd had him for a year. And I, of course, took him for weekends and vacations. Not all the time, but I took him for a week or 2 in the summer. And, yeah. So he was not a stranger to me. But when he came to live with us, he was. We don't know what happened. It's been a struggle ever since. I've never, in all the time that he's been with us, felt like we've had that grandma loving relationship that we had before. Probably just a couple months before the event happened, where he came to visit, and it was wonderful. He came to visit, and they wanted to stay, and I was like, no, You know, we live in this tiny house and your mama loves you, and so that's my story, y'all. So now we've had Isaiah for 4 years, and it's been a struggle. It's a very serious struggle. Ronald, well, he's a good boy most of the time. Once in a while, right now he's taking the Dollaride bus home because he had to stay at school because we got a teacher phone call. He is a junior this year, and he's been doing very good up until this point. And, sometimes he'll fall behind and you got to really get on him, and he throws a little bit of a fit, but then it's usually okay. Ninth grade was pretty rough, but we've been pretty good since then. So I'm hoping he doesn't slide back into that, because one rough customer is enough to deal with at a time. So, okay, this is 11 minutes. There is no telling how long this will take to load. I hope I get it loaded before the night is out, because then you'll think I didn't do it. And I did it. Okay, this is episode number 5, I think. Grandparents raising grandchildren. What's your story? Tell me all about it. I look on the computer and read about other people's stories because it makes me feel like we're not alone. Y'all take it easy and have a great evening.